Hey, hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing well. I decided to go with a pre-recorded video for this because a couple of people reached out and said they were having some troubles and a little bit of confusion with this. So I thought if I went over a possible answers and a go through on this worksheet, you could look at it at your own pace and do some updates and edit your own worksheet as needed. Okay. Uh, also, a reminder that when you're done with this worksheet, today is the day to spend some time catching up and making sure that your best work has been submitted for the beginning of the third quarter. So when I go over your work and do some grading over break, we can get some excellent grades and really have this third quarter be your best quarter. Okay, so when we talk about this commercial, we can't, we're looking at the top box here and we're talking about the company or the brand. What do they sell? What is their image? And as we talked about in class, of course, it's fairly obvious here, we're dealing with Jeep. Jeep sells all-terrain vehicles. Their image applies to those who like the outdoors. So your answer should have something to the effect of Jeeps making vehicles, outdoor type, something in that world. You can add some additional details, of course. Okay, so over here, when we're talking about the summary of the commercial, my summary of the commercial looks like this. We have Springsteen is driving around in an old Jeep talking about a chapel located at the center of the country called U.S. Center Chapel in Lebanon, Kansas. He used the extremely small chapel as the basis to talk about the country needing to meet here in the middle, before the ad ended with to the reunited States of America. This was followed by a website and logo for Jeep, which is celebrating its 80th anniversary in 2021. So it's just an overview of exactly what we saw in there, what we saw in the commercial, and so you can get a description of what you saw. Anything you saw, if you included any additional details, anything about the music, awesome. Images or symbols, some of the ones I wrote down here and noted, not in any particular order, kind of at the in semi-chronological order, but some of the things I sort of just remembered and put down. So you've got the newspaper that he has on his. Oh, I got an alarm going off. We got the newspaper on the passenger seat of the car. You've got an American flag that we see in there. There are several crosses. Does take place in a chapel, so we see the the cross as a symbol used throughout this advertisement. We have a horse that shows up in the advertisement. There's a candle that representing light. There's a mountain. There's a river. There's a U.S. map. A couple of U.S. maps. There are empty city streets right at the same time as the word fear is used in the advertisement. To me, maybe a subliminal connection to COVID and how the cities and all of our towns and streets have gotten quieter. There's this image of hot steaming coffee from a thermos outside. You see Springsteen drinking it, and it's most certainly an image that might have an effect on people. At one point, you see him put his hands in the dirt and rub his hands together. All notable images and symbols, and we can talk about what each of these represents. And we did in class talk about a lot of them. Okay, and we'll continue when we do our wrap-up discussion after break. What sort of stands out, as you know, we talked about the fact that it was a Super Bowl Sunday advertisement, and that was on 2/7/21. We were talking in class and said that since many of you don't even know who Bruce Springsteen is, it's unlikely that you are the target audience. So I put target audience middle-aged and up, and various vehicles allow for any type of driver. Those who are older and more likely to know and possibly be a fan of Springsteen are probably more likely to have money for the purchase anyway. So the advertisement isn't really going to you anyway. I would like you to hold that thought for a second. Okay, in terms of thoughts on social climate, there are so many things you could put here that are relevant to this advertisement and a reason why they chose to put this message out there. A few thoughts that could work. I put to many, the U.S. seems more divided than usual. America's going through a tumultuous time. COVID has forced major adjustments and caused significant suffering. There have been epic protests demanding social justice. The 2020 political election was particularly heated. The riots and sacking of the U.S. Capitol is another example of the tumult the country is facing at this time. So, those are just a few ideas of why Jeep chose to take this unity advertisement out and promote that message with the idea that interesting in light of recent developments. So some of the obvious stuff in terms of why Jeep was ready to give him money. You have his career as a musician, the fact that he was a Broadway star and had this crazy run on Broadway that was sold out. His autobiography, which was particularly honest and open and had it was a bestseller. We talked to him about how he's sort of a celebrity elder statesman. However, there's also plenty of room for criticism here. He's talking about bringing people to the middle, but him personally has been somebody who has a noted political preference. So I don't know if that's necessarily the best person to try and get people to the middle. There's a ton of religious images in here, which will appeal to many who are religious, but may not be as well received by those who are less religious. And of course, we have the man's drunk driving arrest, which is kind of problematic when you're promoting a vehicle and you proved yourself, or allegedly showed yourself to be unable to handle one responsibly. So that's a certain conflict, and certainly he has to meet those problems, which is why Jeep has suspended the ad at this time. If we're talking pathos here, the emotions, the images here, the agrarian pastoral images of America may cause a nostalgic feeling, ironically, even for those who never experienced it. People have an idea of what America was, and that appeals to them because the modern world is so scary. So there are people who were born in cities and never experienced that kind of life at all, and they go, oh, that's the America I want this to be. And it's in some ways sort of odd, but you see it a lot, and you'll see it a lot in advertisements if you pay attention. There's a definite, in terms of the logical or the logos, there's a basic argument here that unity is better than division, and that certainly appeals to most people. It's a logic that's hard to argue with. Okay, and finally, I'm getting to a thesis, one that works here. The divided America will come together and create a better world so you can buy a Jeep. I don't know. That's kind of what they're saying. Come together and buy a Jeep. So let's come together and let's all buy Jeeps. All right, guys, this gives you a little overview of one possible answer key. Obviously, I don't want you writing my answers down, but if you're struggling with the thought process or what to put for some of these responses, you can use this video as a guideline to help you. Of course, if you're further confused, please reach out. During class time, I'll be live and I'll be available through email. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. Check in with you after you watch this video.